Hello, welcome to IanHRP on YouTube and welcome to today's video where we will be looking at this, the Sirui Swift P1 camera stabilizer. Welcome along then to today's video. This is what we're going to be looking at. It is the Sirui Swift P1 camera stabilizer. Works with your mirrorless camera, action cameras and also your smartphone as well. I love gimbals. I have a real thing for gimbals, have since a young age. I watched a TV program and there was one of the big massive camera Steadicam operators going around. I was like, oh, look at that. So yeah, really like these little things. It's one of those interests of mine. I watch loads of videos on stabilizers and gimbals, etc. And I've just brought one. I did have one previously, which was for smartphone only. This one does my camera. So this is the box it comes in. It's a nice leather case that you can carry around with. And I'll just quickly show you what you get in the box itself. So you get a number of different plates. That's for your main camera. And you have different positioning as well, and it's a standard screw thread. You do need to have a coin or something to tighten it up properly, which is, I prefer the ones that have got the little ring on there, but not a major thing. This is your mount for your action camera. So the action camera goes that way with the lens pointing out there. I don't have an action camera to test that, but it's a nice metal construction. You get a good old Allen key to go in the man drawer. How many of those do we have? You get a nice little tripod. This is a plastic tripod, but it works well. Allows you to place the stabilizer down on the ground, but also gives you some extra grip when you're using it. I tend to have that on the bottom of the device. And then some of the other little things that we have as well. You have this, which is an extension that sits underneath the lens of larger cameras. So I can use this with my EM1 Mark II and the 12-40 Pro lens. You just add that onto the bottom and it just gives a little bit more support for the lens itself as well. I'll show you that later. Nice little bit of kit. We do have some cables. Now, that's meant to be for the Olympus camera, which means you should be able to control it using the controls on the actual stabilizer. I don't know where that goes. It doesn't fit. It's meant to fit the EM1 Mark II. But it doesn't. And they also include ones for the Panasonic, the Sony and the Fujifilm as well. And I've tried the Panasonic one thinking similar camera, but they don't work anyway. Perhaps that's just me. You've got a little bit of gumph in there, and then this is the actual stabilizer itself. So it's a nice metal construction. It's a 3-axis stabilizer, 3-axis gimbal. So you've got axis 1, axis 2 and axis 3. On the front, you have your controls. So you can use this for focus, if you could get the camera to work. You've got your mode dial, you've got your power on off, you've also got your the center and the record button as well, which you can use via the app. And then you've got the little joystick there, which you can use to actually move the gimbal itself. So let me show you setting up using the smartphone. So the Sirui P1, Sirui P1, is that right? Ooh. So the Sirui P1 was an Indiegogo campaign. It generated 235,878 pledges in the time it was running, and it finished in November 2019. So I backed it as part of that campaign. It's only the second Kickstarter Indiegogo type campaign I've backed. The other one was a complete disaster. The smart screen thing, you may have read about it, was a complete disaster. Anyway, let me show you just quickly setting up, hopefully you should be able to see this, setting up a smartphone on the actual gimbal itself. So you get this little case or this little cradle which has a nice sound. You could really annoy people with that, which I probably would. So yeah, it's nice because it actually fits most phones. It would easily fit an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it fits my 11 Pro nicely as well. So you have that little device there, and then all you need to do is you need to attach the plate onto the bottom of the device and screw that into place, and then use the Allen key to tighten up. So there you go, that's now connected, and I'll just tighten that a little bit more. There we go, nice and tight. So once you've got the phone in the cradle and on the plate, you slide the plate into the actual unit, and then you use this little screw here to turn until it's tight, and there you go, that is connected. And now what you need to do is you need to balance the device connected to the tripod. So you place it on a flat surface, and you have the controls facing towards you, and then the first one that I will balance is this. So you need to have this so that when you let go it stays steady. Now this is fairly alright at the moment, but I'll just do a little adjustment. So you adjust using these screws here, which have a nice grip on, and then you just change the height, and you want it so that it stays balanced and pretty much vertical whenever you move it. So that's about right. It's a little bit off, so we'll just push it up ever so slightly. So what I do like about this is it has little marks, measurement marks that you can do. So you can set this, and then you'll know, okay, I need this to be on number 4 to balance this particular phone. So the next axis we're going to balance is this one here, and you basically need this to not move. Okay, that's about right on that one. And then the final one to do is you want the last one not to spin round when you let go. So you need to have that center, and there we go. That's pretty much done. I'm just going to change that. In fact, I'm going to move the phone slightly towards the edge. That's better. Okay, I now need to rebalance this part here. Just going to move it up slightly. Way off. And it is just a case of fine tuning until you're happy that you have a balanced camera, phone on the device. So that will do for now. Okay, so if I now turn this on, okay, I've turned this on. I've got it on the wrong mode because I had my camera on it before, so I need to change it to the low mode. Okay, that's better. So if you hear the motor humming, as you may have done then, it means you've got it on the wrong mode. So this does have 3 modes. It has low, medium and high. I tend to have the phone, if I've got the phone on there, as low because it's a fairly lightweight device. If I've got a camera on there, obviously have it as high. It just means the motors work more to be able to balance correctly. But if you've got it on the wrong mode, it doesn't like it, and you'll hear the motors whirring quite badly. So you need to change that. And now we have the gimbal device. I'm just going to change the mode there. Okay, so there you go. So we have the device stable and stabilized, and it works really, really nicely. So let me show you some footage shot using the phone and this stabilizer, and then we'll go on and show you how we manage with the actual camera itself. This is footage shot a couple of weeks ago at a holiday let, and this is one of the very cute sheep that we have. As you will hear, they are extremely noisy, but I just wanted to show this. So this is me walking with the gimbal, Swift P1, and it's fairly low down, so I'm holding it quite close to the ground, but it does give really nice smooth footage when you're following when you're following sheep, or anything actually, to be fair. Right, it's going to bar at me in a minute. There we go, and again. They do like doing that. Next, I wanted to show some video of using the gimbal when you're running. I don't run very often, but this is me chasing Bryn. He features quite a lot in videos, normally just of his back end as well, as he's normally in front of me. But as you can see, that was fairly stable footage using that, and I was running full pelt for me, which is not very fast. This final section of footage shows you how you can use one of the settings to spin the camera 360 degrees actually on the gimbal itself. Very useful. Let's have a go then at mounting an actual full-size camera on the Swift P1. So first thing you need to do is obviously attach the camera to the plate, and then attach the plate to the stabilizer itself, and you use the screw on the bottom there in order to tighten it so that it won't slip back and forth. Now, because of the extra weight of the camera, you do need to do quite a bit of to-ing and fro-ing with the balancing. As you can see here, it's slight minute movements in order to get the camera to balance correctly. As I showed you earlier in the video, you repeat these steps for each of the 3 axes of the gimbal, and you need to do it until the camera is steady and stable without the device being powered on. As I showed you earlier on in the video, you do get a little attachment that you can use in order to provide some extra support for your camera lens. When you attach this, what you need to do is you need to make sure that the actual plate the camera is on is slid all the way back so it's flush with the front of the stabilizer. And what you will figure out is the fact that this is probably one of the most tricky parts of actually setting this up. It doesn't twist round when you've got it on if you've got it fully tight, so you have to, as you can see here, I'm really struggling to get it on, so you have to loosen it slightly in order to give you a bit more room, in order to allow this piece to twist round so it sits underneath the lens. As you can see here, that's now in place, so you tighten that up so it fits at the bottom of the lens, and then you tighten it at the bottom of the stabilizer as well. It just gives a little bit of added extra support between the lens and the camera and the gimbal. And now we have the camera on, and we're going to power on the Swift P1, and as soon as it turns on you can see that it balances itself. You need to make sure you've got this on high due to the weight, but that is now stabilized and on the gimbal, and it actually works really well. So my final thoughts then on the Swift P1 camera. I really like it. It's really well made. It's a really nice construction. It feels nice in the hand as well. I like the fact that it will take a mirrorless camera with a decent lens on there as well. The Olympus OMD EM1 with the 12-40 Pro lens is not the lightest camera in the world, and it will take it easily and it will work nicely on this as well. I like the accessories you get with it. You get everything in the pack that you need. I particularly find this useful when you're using the gimbal. It gives you a little bit of extra grip, and it just makes it slightly more interesting, slightly more comfortable even. I'm slightly disappointed that the cables don't seem to work with my camera. It's not a major thing. You can control the camera on the gimbal itself, but it would be nice to be able to use the record and the zoom functions on the actual device itself. But there you go. The app is not brilliant. I tend not to use it. I'll use it for time lapse sometimes just to give the control and the movement. But apart from that, I tend to just use it manually and just use the gimbal itself. But overall, I'm really happy with it. I don't use the gimbal that often, but it's a nice thing to have around when you want to do a bit of video, as you've seen earlier on in this video as well. So overall, really happy with it. You can pick these up. They're out in the wild now if you want to go and have a look and purchase one. So yeah, nice little camera gimbal. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. There's more videos coming up, so why not give us a like, a subscribe, and leave a comment as well, and click on the notification option as well so you get told when new videos from me come along. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed so far. They're slowly moving up, and I've got more videos planned and more videos coming up very soon. So until next time, thanks for watching, and bye for now.